Hi guys, it's Carissa and I am doing my week 16 update today. I could say it every week, I can't even believe it. But I have some interesting things to discuss this week, from this past week anyway. And I'm pretty much caught up. I'm kind of caught up right now on videos. I'm trying to make sure that I edit in a more timely fashion if possible. But I am noticing that the time is passing so quickly. It's just like back before the pregnancy when I was really busy with work and very highly caffeinated and had big long to-do lists for myself all the time. I feel like I can never find enough hours in the day to get the things done that I'd like to do. If I think of 5 to 6 things that I want to do in a day, I know realistically only 3 of them will get done. It doesn't stop me from still trying to plan more than what I am capable of, but that's just me. In week 16, I had a doctor's appointment. It was actually just a Doppler visit. I'm not really sure why it was scheduled the way it was, but I think the last time I was there was week 12, and I was told to come back in 4 weeks for a Doppler visit, and then the week after that, I would have an ultrasound. So next week I have an ultrasound and a visit with my doctor, and that may be my last visit with that doctor. Hopefully, fingers crossed. And I will talk more about that at the end of the video. So in week 16, I still was a little bit moody. It was more internalized though, I think. Just little things would make me feel a little bit grumpy. A lot of it, I think, has to do with just the heat. It's very hot outside, and if I have to leave the house, I, have to pee and I'm thirsty and the sun's really bright and it normally gives me a headache. And it's the sun that gives me a headache. I don't really get headaches otherwise. Some of you have been very sweet and suggested that I use an umbrella. I do have a clear umbrella, and that's what I get for trying to be cute, but I really don't mind it. It's such a mild thing. It's not ideal, but it's just sort of something I've come to accept. And I definitely don't make plans to go to any farmers markets or outdoor craft shows or events or anything because I know I can't really handle being in the sun that long. Early in week 16, it might have been the day that the week turned over. I had to make note of it because it was just so funny to me. I had been out running errands for a good amount of the morning, and I was drinking a lot of water. And I came in the house, and I sneezed, and I peed everywhere. I sneezed and just full peed in my kitchen. So that was fun to clean up, and I was laughing the whole time because I just couldn't even believe it happened. But I thought it was too funny not to share that happened. Usually when I sneeze, it's not that drastic an issue. It hasn't been anyway since then. I am very tired in the mornings now. I find that I'm having to figure out a new balance for my daily schedule. That's part of the reason why I don't think I get as much done as I would like to either, because I used to have a very different way of operating. My ideal scenario would be to start the morning off as early as possible, have something for breakfast, make sure I have a lot of water in, take my vitamins, do some, basic maintenance chores around the house like the dishes, and make sure all of the animals are fed and watered. And then I'd start work. Sometimes I'd start laundry and sort of do it in between breaks from work. And then I just work straight through until I was done. And then from there I could leave the house and go anywhere, do my errands, film videos, take a nap if I felt tired. If I would reward myself at the end of the day with a nap. Well, as you know from my last video, I mentioned that I have been putting my needs first right away. I think it's kind of my way of transitioning from worrying about my needs to worrying about a very tiny human's needs. So, and technically it's her that I'm doing all these things for anyway. But if I feel really run down and tired in the morning, I take a nap first thing. So the first initial part I still do. I get up, I have breakfast, I feed all the animals, and maybe I'll do the dishes. And then sometimes I just go right back to bed from 9 to 11, and then I feel like I can get up and function. It's really strange because if I try and fight it, I feel awful. I feel run down, and I do get headaches. My eyes start to feel really dry, and I just can't quite get a momentum going where I'm productive. So I've been taking a morning nap, which I feel so guilty about. It feels like such a lazy, terrible way to start the day. And I'm trying to just reverse my thinking on that, because I should be happy that I'm lucky enough to do that and to make that choice and to rearrange my schedule the way I do. So that's been something I'm trying to overcome, in a sense, that I have to just remind myself it's okay to do what I feel like I need to do. And I feel so much better, and I do so much better when I've taken that morning nap. As far as physical things this week, I did mention my eyes have been really dry. Today's the first day in almost a week that I haven't been wearing my glasses all day, which, as you know from previous weeks, I really can't comfortably wear my glasses because it squeezes the sides of my head. I could probably go get them adjusted, but they don't feel tight. My head just feels sensitive to having glasses on. But in order to see well and get my work done, I'd prefer to have my glasses on, even though that's not the most comfortable, because my eyes have been really cloudy and dry. It doesn't matter if I have fresh, brand new, out of the package contact lenses in, or what, or eye drops. Eye drops last for about 4 seconds. My eyes are just really dry, and that's just something I'm noticing about myself. Today they seem okay, but I don't want to jinx myself and say that they're better now. But part of that's probably from all the crying. I was crying a lot last week. I was very emotional last week. I still get bouts of it here and there. It's all happy tears. It really always is. But that dries my eyes out a lot too. Another thing is that, and don't look, but I feel like my teeth are so yellow. Every time I look at my teeth, whether it's because I just brushed them or if I'm checking to see if I have like pepper in my teeth or something after eating, or even just when I'm editing these videos, I can't believe how yellow my teeth look. And I haven't changed my dental habits at all. I know it's not ideal to do a whitening treatment or anything while you're pregnant, which I don't even think I'm feeling vain enough to do at this point, but that was sort of an unexpected thing that I've been noticing, is how dingy my teeth look. Some other physical things I've been noticing are not so good. One of them was worse than the other, but it's okay. I'm not upset about it. I sort of knew that this is a possibility, and I'm trying to work on it. So the first one is that I've been losing hair for a couple of weeks now. I'm noticing that I consistently am losing a lot of hair when I shower, and it's not an alarming amount. It's not enough to frighten me, but it's more than I normally do. I've been adding a lot more fruit in, which equates to sugar in my body, and I remember losing about this much hair pretty regularly in the past, years ago. So I would have to guess that having so much fruit has affected me, not only in this way, but in the sense that I'm having trouble with my hands. I know that pregnancy carpal tunnel is very real, and a lot of women have experienced it. Some of you have even shared that with me, that you've experienced it. And I believe that I have the beginning stages of that. It's almost like an arthritic feeling, and it happens first thing in the morning. And this is something that also used to happen to me when I was on a high fruit vegan diet. So I have cut back on fruit, despite it being one of my cravings. I was eating a ton of frozen grapes every day. I wasn't really buying super high sugar fruits like watermelon and pineapple, but I was having a lot more of it than I think that I should. So I know my body, I'm trying to listen to it, and ultimately what I'm trying to do is prevent having major issues with my hands, especially this early on, because I still would like to work for as long as I can. But I can tell that I'm being affected by that. But luckily, it's mostly just first thing in the morning. So when I wake up, I feel like I can't really bend my fingers past this point. I can't make a fist. I find that when I do start to, I can get a little bit closer and closer to a fist, but it's very achy, and I can't hold things or open bottles, anything like that, for at least an hour or two after I've woken up. Yesterday I was noticing that my index finger on my left hand felt like I needed to crack the knuckle. I don't crack my knuckles. I have very flexible fingers, so I don't really have knuckles that would crack. But this one felt very much like it needed to be. It felt like there was a big pocket of air in the knuckle, and it was very achy and almost a little bit painful. It was sort of radiating down through my arm. And I even asked Mike to try and help me crack the knuckle, and he couldn't seem to, and it only made it more angry. So I left it alone and I just went to bed. And when I woke up this morning, it was still hurting a little, but that eventually went away. So I'm full and ready to experience pregnancy carpal tunnel. I will take it if that's what's coming to me. I suppose that's probably better than morning sickness, and most of you who had that, I'm sure, would think so. So if I'm gonna have pregnancy carpal tunnel, I don't care. I guess I'm just gonna try to avoid it if it's possible, by cutting back on sugar and just hoping if that has anything to do with it, then hopefully that helps me a little bit. Normal has joined me for this next part, where I was going to tell you that my cats, specifically, have been very clingy and affectionate with me lately. It might be a coincidence. I know that they go through phases, but Normal has been a little bit of a shadow of mine. She is stealing my chairs a lot. I don't really know what that is. She's not really a lap cat. She doesn't like to be held, but when I'm working, when I get up to pee, one of the 56 times per hour that I do, every time when I come back, Normal is sitting in my work chair. And a lot of the time, I didn't even know she was in the room to begin with. She was kind of like hiding out somewhere in the room, waiting to steal my chair when I got up. And she even did it just now when I started filming this video. She stole my chair. She's just been very, very lovey and in every room that I'm in at all times. And my male cat, Fritz, who goes through phases with his affection as well, has been almost competing for my affection with Normal. So I spent a little bit of time with him this morning and was petting him and kind of let him have some alone time with me because, you know, he does have to compete with a cat and 2 other dogs and many other animals. So I made sure to spend a little bit of time with him, but he's normally very independent and doesn't really want to be, it's not that he doesn't want to be around me, but he's always, you know, off napping somewhere or planning world domination. So it's just been a little bit weird to have so much active cat love suddenly. Okay, so let's talk about my doctor. He hasn't really done anything to me to cause me to want to change doctors. I don't love him, but I like him better than every other doctor that I've seen in the last 8 years. And as some of you know who've been with me for a long time now, since like the start of my channel, you know that I was constantly seeing new gynecologists in hopes of some help with wanting to be diagnosed with PCOS. I'm not saying I wanted to be, but I felt truly and deeply that I had it and needed treatment for it and guidance. And I was always turned down and kind of seen as just a fat, lazy person who was just looking for an easy way out. And I don't think PCOS is an easy way out at all. I didn't even know what drugs people took for it. I had very little information on it, but I was trying so hard to get help because I was so convinced that that was what was wrong with me. And if it wasn't, something else was. So I saw a whole slew of different gynecologists. Some of them were older men who were really inconsistent. Sometimes they were great and really warm and friendly, and other times they were really cold towards me and would try and force bariatric surgery on me. I saw female doctors who seemed judgmental, that I wasn't a daily jogger like they were, and 3% body fat, and they didn't hide their disgust for me as a person. And I just never felt comfortable with any of these people that I had seen. I had a really hard time finding good gynecological care. Not even just good, just not terrible. So, and I was not in complete denial that I had a weight problem, but I was having trouble losing the weight, and I was working very hard to. So the fact that I couldn't, and I had a whole other list of things that I thought were wrong, including periods that were all over the charts, I really thought that someone would be able to help me. It turns out I got diagnosed by a fertility doctor finally. And then from there, it seemed like once that diagnosis came through, other doctors accepted it without question. So I don't really understand that either. But I'm a very polite and agreeable person. I don't think that I'm difficult in any way. I just don't understand why it's so hard for me to find a good doctor. And I think I live in an area with really good hospitals, really good hospital affiliations, and really well-loved doctors. But I would even go to doctors that people recommended to me and still have a bad experience. So when I found my current doctor, he was just better than terrible. He is very dry, very just kind of plain face, doesn't smile, not super warm and fuzzy, and I don't mind that. I just wanted a good doctor. And I don't dislike him. His office is great. The staff at the office is great. It's a brand new facility. It's really nice. But I have been getting kind of bombarded with some unsavory things about his past. And I even recommended that someone in my family go see him for a problem she was having, and she was treated very poorly. And I told her if that had happened to me, I've left other gynecologists for much less. Let me put it that way. So if I had been treated the way that she had been treated, I would never have gone back. And just in her explanation of what happened to her, she ran into someone else who had a really horrible personal story, which almost resulted in her own death. And it ended up preventing her from having more children. And then beyond that, there was something terrible that happened where he ended up losing his license for a year in some sort of probationary period because of the death of a patient. It was like a malpractice claim. And there were all these other women who had come forward who just happened to not die but had similar issues. And that was really unsettling. I don't want to look for a new doctor right now, especially because of how difficult it was for me to find one that was someone I could tolerate. And I even went to someone in the past that, well, I didn't. My primary doctor, who I really respect and trust and wish that she was just a jack of all trades and could do everything, I asked her who I should see. She recommended a man to me in the area who's older and only works 2 days a week because he's sort of tapering his schedule down before retiring, and he's not accepting new clients. So I just haven't had luck with that at all, and I hate the thought of looking for someone new, but I also feel strangely liberated and excited by the idea because I don't feel like I love this doctor, and I am really paranoid about things going wrong, complications during birth. And even though some of these issues happened 20 years ago, it's still really, really unsettling. So I've been talking with some people. I just polled on Facebook, people in the area, who do you have as a doctor? Who do you love? And I am looking into calling a few places to see if they're accepting new patients. Because my new irrational fear, now that I kind of sort of believe that this baby is here to stay, my next irrational fear that's always just nagging me in the back of my mind is that I'm not going to live through this birth. And that Mike will have to carry on without me with a daughter that I'm not here to see. And that is so silly. Like, I really should stop that, but I can't. I just keep thinking it. It's like I need a new stage of fear. I need something new to worry about, I guess. So I'm just trying to make sure that I find a doctor who is okay with dealing with a slight hypochondriac and someone who has anxiety and someone who is going to call her with strange questions like, I think I might have a blood clot, which I most likely don't, but I'm worried about, somebody who can put up with that to an extent. I'm not nearly as bad as some people probably are when it comes to that, but I don't like to take any chances either, so call me ridiculous, but that's what I'm working with. But that is it for week 16. Thank you so much for watching and listen to me ramble and be paranoid and frightened. It's still here. I'm just directing it different places, I guess. But things are great. It was another great week, and I'm so happy that you guys are here to support me and to share it with me. So thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.